Time to duel here in game number 1, round 7 of the NAWCQ 2025.
It's a pretty critical die roll.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, even though Mermels have tools of going second, they definitely still want to go. Players have been rolling really high on their die rolls today. A 10. Oh, it's not going to be enough with the 2. 8 will fall, and Tyree will go first. Fist bump. Good luck to the opponents, and it's time to duel.
What is your favorite card of the Mermel deck? I have mine. I'm curious if we share the same one.
It has to be, for me, it's Mermail Abyss Megalo. There's
Okay,
not
that's
another
fair.
one that I'm going to, it's not one that is really used nowadays, but that one won me so many games back in the day, and it was kind of such like the power play card. I can't, let it go. How about you?
I just love that the deck incorporates Super Ancient Deep Sea King Suelacanth in it.
Ooh.
It's just one of those cards throughout Yu-Gi-Oh's history, whether it was in original Fish combo decks or maybe some of the Ultimate Time Wizard formats that are currently going on now, that you read the card and you think, oh my, this is one of the most powerful cards I've ever read. And seeing it played here in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Incorporated so well into this deck with its leveling. And I think it's really one of the reasons why this deck is so powerful. It actually incorporates cards like Abyss Keeper, the one from the extra deck that lets you special summon it from in hand, so that you can always get it on the field.
Yeah, but it looks like Tyree is starting off with the Abyss Shrine, going to tribute itself along with another Mermail. It looks like another copy of Abyss Shrine to either add or special summon a level 7 water from the deck.
Is he just going to go big fish early here? It kind of looks like he has one of those hands.
Yep, going straight into the Coelacanth. An ultimate rare one.
Yeah, with his 2 quarter-century Secret Rare Shrine. That's really not the most ideal opening in terms of your discard, though.
Yeah, it's going to open him up to potentially some sort of interruption here, like Infinite Impermanence. No response, though. That's what Tyree was hoping for. He doesn't show the excitement on his face that it resolved, but I guarantee he is excited. So now he's going to be able to summon some fish from the deck up onto the field.
Sending a butterfly fish from his hand to the graveyard also to activate that effect.
So summoning 2 copies of Abyss Spike, and I think the other one is the Gluttonous Retro Dolphin Geethis.
So this is an indication of a few different things on Brian's side. Because he didn't go with the full 4 monsters, that either means he's only playing 2 Spike, he has one in his hand and he's actually playing 3 Pike, or the 4th fish that he was intending on summoning was the butterfly fish, and that is kind of the entirety of his package as well. So there's a lot of indications as to why only summoning 3 monsters and what that could reveal about his hand. But now what we see here is the White Aura Monoceros, which is going to allow him now to special summon a water from his graveyard. So this deck does a fantastic job of kind of climbing up, and Link monsters, we call it Link climbing. The Synchro monsters also sometimes have that ability where you go from a level 7, and now you can special summon back that Glutonius from the graveyard. Now this gives him the ability to go into a level 10. We see this very constantly when this deck is playing. And then that level 7, though, can also just combine really well with this Wheel
Yeah,
Camp.
I don't have any more targets. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah, we're going to see how he's going to navigate this. I think it's really cool that they incorporate like the fish tuners to add the synchro summoning strategy alongside that Coelacanth.
Yeah, so what this deck can sometimes do, I'm curious, it does look like Tyree is playing Shijiao. Sometimes you can have Shrine in the graveyard and banish it during your opponent's turn in order to draw a card, and then send a water from your hand to the graveyard, but actually triggering that banish effect can also work and actually synergize well with the Sword Soul. Kind of an interesting pairing. But we see here now the special summon back.
The Abyss Shrine?
Yep.
Looks like he's going to overlay the 2 level 7s.
Yeah, Glutonius lets you also special summon back a water monster, which is an important thing to note. The effects are not negated on the Monoceros. It's negated with the Coelacanth, but it is not negated with the Monoceros.
Target the butterfly fish.
Yes.
So we see here for the overlay of the Abyss Strike. Now, again, as I mentioned, the Monoceros being a level 7, combining now with Coelacanth, this deck just basically every one of their extra deck monsters in some way, shape, or form seemingly special summons a water monster from either the hand or graveyard. It's really quite impressive. And now we see
Trishula Dragon of the
legendary
Ice Barrier coming down turn 1. Tyree's going after a card in the hand. Tyree's an old school duelist summoning these old school cards, but still quite impactful.
I mean, he won a YCS. Oh, wow. That's a...
Mouse and Underground.
Yeah.
Now he knows what his opponent's playing, and the Mouse and Underground is no longer in the hand.
I wonder if
But
he's...
you're saying he won a YCS with...
Over a decade ago, multiple times. I wonder if Trish was in maybe at least one of those. It's hard to tell.
Probably not the Mermail.
Probably not the Mermail deck.
Definitely the plant one.
Definitely
yeah.
the plant deck. It's interesting, though. I wonder how many times this weekend he's Trishula'd a Malice out of his opponent's hand going first.
Yeah, luckily it was the field spell. Malice and Underground, not one of the monsters for sure. But he's going to make the Atlantean Lord and then be able to link it away for the core anemone.
And this allows him also to special summon back a water. The Glutonius, had he not used the effect already this turn, he would actually be able to use it here.
Yep, all these monsters coming back thanks to Dixie's monster being sent to the graveyard.
Yep, Poseidra. That's why the Fuwalos is there in the graveyard. As I said, basically everything from this deck's extra deck just allows you to constantly revive from the graveyard.
Prima Donna.
Okay. Now we see
I'm gonna use Prima Donna.
Prima Donna. So this is going to be one of the ways. This is actually really fascinating because Trishula activated earlier in the turn. He can actually shuffle that card back into the deck. Now, a lot of times you actually have to be using the Deep Sea Minstrel and put it back into his hand rather than not into his deck, but he actually gets to do it with another card. So it's kind of interesting to see how that worked out because this is one of the ways that he goes into Torrent. But he didn't have access to Minstrel earlier during this turn.
Oh, okay.
So the fact that he was able to Trishula first is how he was able to get in a card banished for his opponent that was then returned back to the hand in order to summon the barrier statue from his deck. So again, this deck just has so many different pathways into an established board in some way, shape, or form that has Torrent on the field.
Yeah, finding a way to get this barrier statue on the field is definitely something Tyree wanted to do, and he accomplished that fact. So now it looks like the plays are going to continue more synchro summoning, potentially a link summon, but it's probably a synchro.
Yeah,
yep,
this
there's
is
a Changing.
Sure.
Yeah, I commented on how this combines really well with Shrine in the graveyard to give you multiple interactions on your opponent's turn. Because if the Shrine is sending a water monster to activate in order for you to draw, it also then would trigger the banish effect from Xizhao.
Or from Changing.
Changing, yeah. My apologies.
Changing being water is excellent
Yes,
here.
100%, because you are waterlocked in some of the cases too. You're waterlocked by your own Torrent amongst other effects too here.
Sure.
I'm not going to lie, I have a water deck at home that I sometimes just kind of sit down and solitaire out every once in a while.
Seems like a fun one to play with, yeah.
Every play, too, I mean, there are some like established fields and established combo lines, but everything feels a little bit different. So this is going to allow him to return back kind of one of the tri-water types back to his hand. And he's also...
Just like fish,
yeah.
Aqua, Sea Serpent?
Sea Serpent, yeah.
Discarded you to add.
I can, if it's discarded for a water monster, but for a cost, I can add it back to my hand. Yep.
Yeah, there's talking about the detach of the butterfly fish. It's not the absolute most powerful, but what it is going to do, though, is it is going to give him the water monster that he needs to combine with the shrine in his graveyard so that he has that additional interaction on the opponent's turn.
You cut, right?
I'll cut it when you're done. It's fine.
I'm done. So.
Okay.
I'm done.
You done enough here, Tyree?
Okay.
All right. Now it's going to be up to Brian to see how he's going to deal with this barrier statue of Torrents.
Stand by me.
Yes.
The defense on the water statue is 1,000.
Yes, correct.
Might be looking to just normal summon and try and attack it, but Tyree's got some tools to his disposal to deal with that.
He doesn't have any banished cards right now, but theoretically the Malice deck could banish cards, but that would start to modulate the attack and defense of the monsters on the field.
No response.
Okay.
All right, Goldstark's going to banish the card from the deck. Is he going to get something he wants in 2 turns? I mean, he can't summon any Malice monsters, so...
I mean, you could go March here and just add it back to his hand, but he banishes Chessy Cat.
Okay, so now there's a Chessy Cat that is banished. It won't be able to trigger its
Also
effect.
to activate.
No response. Okay.
Now he's going to activate Malice and Underground. Oh, so he's banishing the Chessy Cat because it has enough attack to attack over the Torrent. And now he's going to use Malice and Underground to banish the March here to add the Chessy
Add it
Cat
back
to
to
his
his hand. Yeah, okay.
Smart stuff here from Brian.
Right? Yeah, very much so. It's not like every game in which one of the barrier statues is on the field, the game just outright ends. But again, if there's too many monsters banished,
Activate March Hair effect.
there is going to be that attack and defense modulation that could definitely interfere with the potential of attacking over the Torrent. Plus, there's also the Abyss, the Neptibus on the field too.
King
Anything
Neptibus.
My
Or as
apologies.
I like to call him, work from home Neptibus.
I will normal summon Chessy Cat.
Here comes the Chessy Cat.
Sure, no problem.
Looks like it's going to prompt Tyree to think for a minute.
Yeah.
So this is one of the reasons why he went into the Lavirtue Dragon the previous turn. It guaranteed that he had a water monster in his hand, because otherwise he didn't. The other card in his hand is an Impulse. So now when he banishes the Shrine to draw a card, he is now going to be able to activate that Sword Soul's effect.
Here, I'm going to use...
Yep. And since there's a card in the graveyard and on the field, Changing is going to be able to banish both of
So
them.
I'm going to use Chain Link 1 Chain Link 2 Butterfly Fish.
Yes.
Chain Link 1 banish these 2.
Okay. Can I concede?
All right, the normal summon's not going to get there. Tyree has that covered, and Mermails on the backs of the Deep Sea Coelacanth and the Barrier Statue of Torrents is going to take it there for Tyree. Two-time YCS champ, one of those with Mermails, so I know it would mean a lot to him if he's able to make it to the top 4 and go to Worlds with one of his favorite decks of all time.
The other one with Trish. It's like he's taking all his old favorites from back in the day.
He is, but you see he's locked in. He's focused. He won game 1, but you don't see a smile on Tyree's face.
No, he understands that one game is that's just it. It's just one game.
Just one game.
Some interesting things about that previous, all things considered, the play that Tyree made of just summon Coelacanth, kind of hoping that it goes through. He had an impulse, so there are some, outs there to the cards like Nibiru. But that's one of those things where you summon it and you kind of just hope and pray that it goes through. And the fact that it did ultimately ended up giving him those 3 additional fish monsters on the field that allowed you to see what you just saw there. Sometimes what's interesting with Coelacanth is if you can navigate the turn correctly, Coelacanth has kind of a secret secondary effect that not a lot of people are aware of, that if it's targeted, you can use one of your fish monsters to basically tribute it off to negate that. So sometimes when you summon Coelacanth on this deck, you can actually have other fish monsters to play through some of the targeting hand interaction effects. We didn't need to see that here, but it is just something to note that if you're unfamiliar with this particular strategy.
So going into this tournament, I think there are a lot of decks that were cards like Effect Veiler, Infinite Impermanence, popularity is kind of lower now. Like, there's at least a consideration to not include those cards into your deck. There's so many like more high impact options like the 9-Mil Charmies, Droll and Lockbird, and stuff like that. Do you think maybe cards that are effect negations and stuff winding down? Because like if your opponent's not playing Infinite Impermanence and you can summon a Barrier Statue of Torrent, do you think that has like resulted in maybe Tyree having as much success so far as he's had this weekend?
It's honestly an interesting question. I really like the water deck.
I can tell.
As you can tell, like I literally go home sometimes and just, I have 20 minutes to kill. I'm just going to dig out this Mermail Atlantean deck and just
ain't nothing wrong with that.
Draw some hands out for a little bit. But honestly, even with my love for this particular deck, I don't think it lines up that well in a format where there's a lot of Droll and Lockbird and Mulcharmies.
That's a pretty good line. I like it.
It's just one of those things where
I did think, I didn't
if the format lines up where those aren't being played,
definitely not
maybe so, but it's just a tough spot, I actually think. So it's really impressive in my eyes
So
for Tyree to be 6-0 right now.
There's like upsides and downsides to it.
Yeah, there absolutely are. I mean, let's talk about upsides.
Okay.
The Bystials, nothing.
Bystial's useless.
Useless, completely useless. Play
I've
as
been
many
there.
of the,
I think Mermail Atlantean has a really good Malice matchup for that reason.
and I think earlier in the previous format, before the Forbidden and Limited list, I actually think it was in a much better position. I actually, it was really gaining a lot of popularity. I think, it was Kamal, I think Christian Urena won.
The
I
team
forget who was
YCS.
also on I forget the other member on their team. I'm sorry, but
he wasn't the one playing.
He wasn't the one playing
Mermail,
Mermail, right? But there were 2 of their 3 members playing Mermail, and I think there really was a lot of steam picking up for this particular strategy then.
Well, it's time to jump into game number 2. Tyree's going to be going second. Brian will start things off, and where Malice shines is really when it goes first. It's one of the strongest combo decks in the game right now. It really only needs 1 card to get going, but I'm sure there's cards in Tyree's side deck that he has prepared for going second.
Ooh, he's got a spicy one of in his hand.
Artifact Lancia.
We're actually going to see one of the coolest interactions. We are in a format where Psyframes and Lancia are actually both playable against particular strategies. So the fact that Tyree has Gamma in his hand, it's actually not going to get banished during the end phase. I don't know how valuable having 2 monsters on the field, but I imagine he can do something that's non-water related in his extra. I'd have to look a little bit closer, but he's actually potentially going to have 2 monsters that stick around onto his turn.
It's cool to see. It's cool to see.
I think Brian just sitting there like, Gamma? Like,
Lancia
by the
into
one
Gamma?
of Gamma?
It is limited to 1, but that didn't stop Tyree from including it in his deck, whether it's the main or side.
He's also potentially playing cards like Delta as well. So that's why we are actually seeing the Psyframes kind of creep back in, because Delta lines up really well against a lot of matchups.
For sure.
And then, of course, if you're playing Delta, you might as well just play the 1 Gamma. It's limited to 1 for a reason.
Why not?
I'll attempt to set 2.
He's going to attempt to set 2, and it resolves.
And I will pass.
And they stay on the field.
They aren't banished because of Lancia.
Yeah, Lancia.
Yes.
Oh, they know.
Yeah.
See
Tyree's
Tyree?
like, I've been wanting to do this all day. Do not make me banish my monsters.
figured.
But now what does he have a level 8 synchro maybe?
I don't know. I'd have to
like
look
an
closer.
Omega or something. That would be cool. Omega kind of lines up with the hand interruptions, but probably not.
Yeah, I don't know what he could potentially.
But he does have
Ooh.
Neptabyss, which is one of the strongest cards. Brian's going to want to deal with this right away. Mistaken Arrest. Okay, so he's not going to be able to add cards from his deck to his hand the rest of the turn, which is pretty huge.
And I'll chain link 2.
And he's going to chain MTP 07, so he'll be able. Brian here will be able to add a Malice monster from the deck to the hand. I love the art there on Mistaken Arrest. Poor Sangan. He went through it. Why did he have to go on that journey?
You have how many in hand?
He was eventually unforbidden, though.
But at what cost?
At what cost?
Look at Graceful Charity, Delinquent Duo. They're just chilling. But Sangan, he's not having a good time.
Who's trying to steal that pot of greed in the background?
Oh, yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
The goblin of greed floating around back there somewhere.
All right. So adds a mouse monster from the hand. Now, will Tyree be able to put 8,000 points of damage without having to add?
We can draw, but we can't add.
Okay.
I like how Brian's like,
So he
we
won't be
can't
able
draw.
to. He won't. The Mistaken Arrest actually lines up with the Neptus really well. Even though it's a cost to sin, the effect adds, so you won't be able to even activate the effect to pay the cost from the beginning. So the timing there on the activation for Mistaken Arrest, really smart there from Brian.
Should be noted that that effect is actually now going to linger on into his turn. I think most players are aware of that, but it is something to note. Mistaken Arrest, for instance, really can punish, for example, Vanquish Souls if they weren't able to establish the attributes in their hand. Because now not only do they have to pass back to you without the ideal attributes, they're not able to then interact on your turn and seek out the correct attributes as well. Okay, we have
Synchro
something.
Knight for Ravenous Crocosaurus.
I like it.
I didn't.
Or Crocodragon Architect.
No.
I always want to call it the because it's like a dinosaur, but yeah, Ravenous Crocodragon.
Oh, look at this draw.
Can I double check the
Yeah, so
cost?
Mistaken Arrest doesn't let you add, but you can
He's not
still
in there.
draw them.
I wonder how many times this happened in testing, where you have the Lancia into the Gamma package into this, and then okay, this is why I have Crocodile in my.
He's
extra
so
deck.
hungry. He's
I know.
ravenous. It says he's a fish, but it looks more like a dinosaur to me.
I don't know if a fish is what makes it synergize well with this deck. It can be a fish because any card that says draw up to the equal to the number of X, and X could be anything more than one realistically. Card I'm a fan of.
Fishing for more cards out of the deck, that's for sure.
It's got that mini Slifer effect too with the attack modulation, attack defense modulation based on cards in hand.
Enter battle.
It's a really fun card.
Looks like he is just going to go to battle phase. Mistaken Arrest is shutting him down here.
Attempt to attack.
But really, this is what Brian needs. He needs just to get out and have a turn where he can still banish cards. Because adding cards from your deck to the hand, while he won't be able to do that, Malice doesn't really need to add cards from the deck to their hand. A lot of ways just to special summon monsters by banishing them from your deck.
And then setting
sorry.
cards
It's
with
like
White
35.
Rabbit,
Yes,
etc.
right.
Okay, so it's 45.
Yes,
Sorry.
yes, yes. Yes.
How about 45?
Yeah.
Tyree has a really interesting play where he can presumably destroy his own Croco Dragon in order to unlock. I think he has another Cyframe and a Mulcharmy in his hand, so he can actually unlock his empty board by destroying his own Crocodile. He'd have to discard 2 cards to do so, but it is on the table.
You can see it happening, but it looks like March here is going to come down still on Tyree's turn, banishing the White Rabbit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
So I'll be at 42. So it's successful.
Yes.
So the White Rabbit's
no
going to be
effect this time.
summoned, and now White Rabbit will be able to set a Malice Trap from the deck.
Is fine.
Tyree's kind of in a tough spot here now,
I actually think I'm out. I'm destroying my own Crocodile potentially here.
especially because you see like the Mulcharmy there in the hand.
Yeah, and he has a Delta, I think, because it's presumably it's another Cyframe.
During the main
Okay.
phase.
So
Still in main.
Sure.
Yep. So he's still in the main phase because March here can only be activated during the main phase.
I think that's one of his only ways of potentially winning because
He is going to use the Crocodragon's effect.
okay, and he's not going to be popping himself.
Wait,
now. He's gonna-
Crocodragon, and it looks like a dinosaur, but it is a fish.
Okay, he actually discarded both of the cards that I thought about unlocking. This is an interesting one.
Yeah.
He's just going after the GWC06.
Yeah.
No activation here from Brian because he doesn't have any Malice monsters that are banished during the graveyard. So it goes straight to the graveyard.
Phase.
So this instead, what Tyree's electing to do is basically just have the 2 pops essentially, the GWC plus he has 1 addition on that quick effect pop with that Croco Dragon. That's a fish.
The Crocodragon that looks like a dinosaur that is a fish. It's a good card, though. Love the card. All right, we're going to see a Links in here for Cybers Wicked.
Yeah,
Take
this
it
is
away, Joe. I know
know-
you've been waiting all day, all weekend for this.
Well,
it actually matters.
Not
Go.
like this, but we commented on how this really does a good job lining up against Mitsurugi's because Wicked protects itself, but also the ones that it points to from destruction, the monsters that it points to, which means, and this is really great from Brian, and he knows the effect. The fact that he put it there is a guarantee to me that he knows
Oh, yeah.
that by doing this, it's protected from the Croco Dragon that looks like a fish's potential destruction effect.
So he's able, really heads up play there from Brian. Especially because how often are you like playing a turn where you're facing down the Crocodragon? Not often.
Not often,
But
no.
he's able to realize what it can do and go into it to draw some cards.
All right,
So
so that's
this-
interesting too.
Droll's being activated for the draws, even though he's under mistaken arrest.
already. He wasn't arrested nearly enough. We needed to add the droll there.
Now you won't be able to draw either.
All right.
Layers and layers of not being able to add. Love it.
And Croc is at how much?
See,
currently?
the problem here for Tyree is I just don't think his hand is really
Okay.
good enough to play through just about anything.
And
So
Brian has another copy of
Yeah.
Mistaken Arrest in hand. I
Oh,
saw it,
oh.
so it's not looking good here for Tyree for game number 2. But Brian, really impressed with his play here. I mean,
Yeah.
he's 6-0, so I'm not surprised, but impressed.
I would have loved that Croco Dragon pop yourself play just to see what that would have looked like. Because with the droll, the delta, in addition to the draws off Molcharmi, I think there is a pathway there to survive the turn, and then maybe get some good Molcharmi draws. Because just the one interaction with the Croco Dragon that looks like a fish, I don't know if that was going to be enough. Especially because
Definitely.
Wicked was just kind of threatened on the field itself.
But I mean, like you mentioned, it's kind of an overlooked effect of Wicked, but it seems like a lot of players this weekend know in Haggard Lizardos in the main monster zone. I don't know if I've ever
Also
seen it
confused
there,
with effect
but it's being
banish
protected,
across.
which is
I
so
already
cool.
used White
Cyber's
Rabbit's
Wicked with that
experiment
bonus
with
effect,
March
really
Fair.
awesome.
Yeah.
So Haggard Lizardos is going to be able to banish one of the mouse monsters as a cost to alter the attack of a monster on the field to the same attack as what he banishes.
March Hair.
That is fine.
So he's going to banish the March Hare, which I think has like 300 attack, maybe 600 at most.
It'll
All the
become
mouse
a-
monsters
Oh,
are
okay,
pretty
okay.
small, but like except for the
And then
exception
I'll
of
take
Chessie
it
Cat
out.
and White Rabbit.
Yes.
So that leaves me.
But he
I
also-
think unfortunately for Ligadus, he's not going to be protected. He's not a Cyberus. That's too bad for.
Oh, it only protects Cybers?
Yeah.
Oh, I got
He's getting a little
excited.
disappointed.
Maybe Tyree didn't realize. I mean, he could have taken it out maybe, but the Haggard Lizards might be the bait here because I mean, you still have to summon it to the zone that the Cyber's Wicked
of
points
course.
to.
It's not like that's optional.
Yeah.
Activate March Hair.
But adding the March Hare back so he can activate it from his hand here to banish the Chessie Cat, the special. Yeah.
Special heal. And then
Okay,
take
so he wants to protect the March Hare more than the Chessie Cat, it looks like.
It's a fine if I concede. Okay.
Tyree's seen enough. He doesn't have anything going for the next turn. He doesn't need to waste any more time.
Yeah, I was really hoping to draw like a Poseidon or something off this croc draw.
Yeah, that would.
We hear Tyree talking
Yeah.
about why he went into the Croco Dragon is he was trying to get into some more Mermail cards. If he got into a Poseidro, would be able to
yeah.
summon it, got some more damage on the field.
mistaken,
And
that's
Poseidro,
so
unlike
bad.
Neptunus, would still be able to use
Yeah.
its effect to send a card down to return a card on his opponent's side of the field to the hand.
Kind of circumvents the hand part. So maybe, if he potentially ran the numbers and said, you know what, I have some live draws right now because this is all happening in my main phase. So I'd much rather, potentially, navigate it that way.
Definitely, but now we're going back into the sides, and we saw what Tyree was capable of in game number 1 when we went first with his Mermail strategy, but now that the side decks are involved, it's a lot to ask their opponent not to open up with any sort of disruption. Brian here could be siding out those bestials that aren't as useful, even though in Malice it's still a card that can continue your plays by banishing Malice monsters at your graveyard, but if he has other tools in his side deck that he might want to take a look at.
He might just not have enough cards. Like, quite frankly, Mermail is definitely a deck that you should know pretty well what the deck is trying to accomplish, but you might just not literally have enough ideal cards to side in and out. And again, like you mentioned, the Bestials can at least be engine pieces. I saw Tyree, though, when he grabbed his side deck, start to immediately throw back in all the little fishes that go along with Suelacanth. So now that he knows he'll be going first here in this pivotal game 3 of our round 7 feature match, we could potentially see some type of sequence very similar to game 1, where Suelacanth brings out all its little fish friends, ending with Torrent or some other really great combination of cards. So it'll be interesting to see what path Tyree decides to take if he opens with an access to Suelacanth here.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything. It's just like even like an infinite permanence. I mean, you mentioned there's ways to play around it, but it really depends on what like Tyree draws with the specific Mermails. If he can draw a combination, like he doesn't want to go all in on Suelacanth if he can avoid it.
Oh yeah, that really was like, we're gonna hope.
Yeah, hope that nothing
Please
goes
resolve.
wrong. Yeah.
It's so amazing. Like, if this card resolves, I'm getting 3 bodies on the field.
If
but-
not, it's your turn.
Yep, if not, we'll be moving on to the next game. Sometimes
But-
it just got to be like that
but
with
when
decks like this.
Yeah, I mean, even though you mentioned Mermail Atlantean was part of like the previous format, it has definitely fallen off as of late. And not in terms of power level, but in terms of popularity. So when you're making your side deck, you only have 15 cards. You have to account for like the decks you think you're going to face. Sometimes you're going to have to sacrifice cards that could be really useful in other matchups. But we saw Brian at least had cards like Mistaken Arrest that had some overlap that are still good against like decks like Mermail. But we're going to see what he has to have going second here.
You know what card that, you look at the Forbidden and Limited list and some changes on it. There's not a lot of shifters running around.
Yeah, only one Dimension Shifter's really like opened up the way. I mean, that would be a card that Malice used to use 3 of.
But
as
could you
well.
imagine if the water still had Bahamut Shark with the shifter anywhere? Oof.
Well, there might be a lot more Mermail players running around out there, but you know, there's still lots of ways to utilize the deck and have some fun with it.
What it's right, there are multiple 6-0s with Mermails right now.
Oh, Tyree's not the only one.
Tyree is not the only one.
That's pretty interesting to note. There's a lot of cool decks this weekend. I've seen a lot more RB than I was expecting, with multiple different strategies. We've seen it with Crystron. We've seen it with Cyber Dragon, because it is like a complementary engine to other machine decks as well.
Yeah, there's not quite enough of them right now to make an entire deck, but I think it does sub well with some others.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like, there's been plenty of surprise decks as well. I know there are Heraldic Beast Rise Heal decks out there as well.
I think there are 2 undefeated at Table 1 actually, who may be part of our written coverage. Don't quote me on that, but I think they may be part of our written coverage this round.
Yeah, we do also have written coverage in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Blog site if you want to check that out. It's a brand new blog site that looks fantastic, but you might want to check that out. But for now, we are here in game number 3 at the NAWCQ 2025. It's round 7. One of these duels will be moving on 7-0, and like that feels really good, but they still have 5 rounds to play of Swiss after that. Only 2 more for today, then they'll get a chance to go back, get some sleep, maybe get some food before they come back early in the morning for the next 3 Swiss rounds. But Brian is going to start with Perulia. It's a good one, but not as strong as like Fualos against Mermail, I would think.
Yeah, so the question is how quickly can he get into Suilicanth here? And at that point, he wanted some from his hand too much. What we see here, Neptibus, the Atlantean Prince. It's actually the first one this match that's going to go fully resolved, I believe.
In response, I'll attempt to activate Imperm target.
Interesting.
It's a painful Imperm.
It is, because the Dragoons still search, but you're stopping like an additional ad. But I think there is some merit to hold Imperm for the barrier statue, maybe.
Yeah. Or potentially the Suilicanth.
But adding the Deep Sea Minstrel means that Tyree has another copy of Atlantean Dragoons. His Dragoons got Dragoons, and he's going to take a peek at Brian's hand and get a search afterwards as well. So he'll be able to take out... What? Oh, there's a Mulcharmy. Is that a Fualos? He doesn't activate it? He holds it. And an Impulse.
And an Impulse. So maybe he just thinks his Impulse is good here.
He's going to make Tyree make the decision to what he wants to banish for the turn temporarily. I think you have to go after the Fualos, though, right? But you can't go after the Fualos with the Impulse. Cuts you down. Yeah. If he has multiple ways to play, you can leave him with the Impulse.
But if he just goes, I'm only going to Impulse Suilicanth. Because he has Trap in the Graveyard to destroy, too.
Yeah.
Maybe that's one of the reasons he Imperm there.
That's definitely what Tyree did not want to see. I mean, Brian opening up with multiple forms of interruption. 4, actually.
So he might go into... So he has Squad that he could potentially go into if he has another way of triggering that. Looks like he has a Poseidra in his hand, his own Impulse, and then Butterfly Fish. So he doesn't really want to go into Shrine as much, though, because it just gets stopped by the Impulse. So now he's thinking about how he can play through this by using the Poseidra in his hand on the Neptibus to activate Neptibus's Graveyard effect.
Gonna add the Atlantean Shadow Squad.
That was normal, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The Shadow Squad, when it's sent to the graveyard by a card effect, it can special summon a Mermail from the deck.
Okay, so this is maybe the path. He might potentially use the Poseidra and maybe potentially use... So this is the beauty, I think, of the Mermail, is it's not always exactly the same pathway. Yeah, I was thinking he might use the Poseidra with the Mermail Shadow Squad from his hand.
Yeah.
2.
3.
Oh, 2 cards. 2.
Including the 3rd in the hand. Okay.
I wonder if he Impulse... I don't think he Impulse. He can't really Impulse. He has to just Impulse.
Just hold it for Suilicanth at all costs?
Yeah. Because he can get the Pike from his hand, from his deck rather, and then discard the Butterfly Fish, add the Butterfly Fish back to hand, and then that's how. Oh no! Tyree's gonna feel good. You're gonna see some good stuff here. This Shadow Squad's gonna resolve. It's gonna get. Look how fast he's gonna do. He's gonna get Pike on the field. Pike's gonna activate its effect, discard the Butterfly Fish, add back the Butterfly Fish, and then the big fish is gonna be coming out because this is gonna allow him to search the shrine.
Use Pike's effect.
Yeah.
He's feeling good now. Now he's going to add Shrine, add it back. That was really important to add back. He needs that water. Because now he's going to use the Shrine, and he's going to use his on-field with the Neptibus.
Neptibus is going to summon back a monster from the graveyard.
And the big fish,
Tyree definitely wanted to see that impulse
yes,
used right
100%.
there.
That all was lined up. The moment that impulse, you knew Tyree knew what was going to happen next. And what's really important, though, for the viewers is that butterfly fish adding back to the hand off the pike discard is really important because the other card he has in hand is a Dominus Impulse. So he had that extra water lined up for the activation of a Coelacanth. And holding in, not that you need to discard a water, but it just holds that impulse as another piece of interaction. And we see here Super Ancient Deep Sea King Coelacanth. You can discard anything, but just having that additional impulse is really important. But then towards the bottom there, I mentioned it has that second effect that not a lot of people are aware of, where if an effect targets a fish, or sorry, targets himself, you contribute another fish to negate and destroy that card.
I remember doing that with Oystermeister back in the day.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
you get some tokens on top of that. Yes.
So now let's see what path he takes. What the beauty here is also is Fuwalos in that banish pile, not doing anything. Fuwalos getting added back to the hand off Deep Sea, it's not going to do anything either. So he's going to be able to summon Torrent at the end of all of this, and that Fuwalos isn't going to do anything. And then he's just going to be stuck with not much.
Do you know what's even crazier about that impulse on the Poseidra?
Yeah.
Like, he's under Perilia, right?
Yeah,
So it would have netted Brian a draw.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that is
definitely
also.
this is where the advantage comes from playing a deck that maybe people aren't as prepared for.
And, you know, to be fair, also, it was clear that the Shadow Squad had gone to the graveyard.
Yeah, like,
Right, so you knew that that pike was a possibility from the deck.
But
All
not-
that Tyree needed was a water in his hand to discard. And this whole play and this whole sequence was there.
Yep, so this is the advantage of playing strategies that are unexpected for sure.
So now here we saw this very similar in the previous game. We're now going to go into a strike, and this is going to allow him to special summon back from the graveyard.
Butterfly.
Okay.
Going to summon back the waterfly, or the butterfly. It's kind of a waterfly, I guess, right? It's a butterfly that's a water monster.
I like it, Waterfly.
And now this is here going to
Virtue
put the
Dragon?
water back into his hand. We saw this in the previous game,
Sure.
so that he has the discard, because again, we know that the card in his hand is a Dominus Impulse. So now he's established the discard for the Abyss Shrine in his graveyard to do the draw and the Dragoon effect.
Okay.
Now he's going to go into Poseidra. He also now has the discard here with Dragoons,
The Atlantean Dragon Lord is here.
but the
I-
Dragoons can filter into infantry from his deck. So the one that
Yep.
he discards now is the Dragoons to activate that effect, and then the one that he gets to discard on his opponent's turn is the infantry.
So you're not only drawing a card, you're also going to be able to take out a card on the field for more disruptions. And you can see how Tyree is undefeated with his deck. He knows it well. He put Brian in a position where he really had to decide on that Dominus Impulse, and now he's free to summon all the fish he wants.
I think we're going to see a very similar end board. We have Neptibus, Sword Soul, Chenglong, or
Changing.
Changing. I never pronounce it wrong. I'm going to call him big, level 10 Sword Soul.
The
with
Supreme
Torrent as well.
Sovereign Lord.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good enough. Supreme Sovereign Lord. Yeah, I think so.
I say this a lot, but it's one of my favorite cards.
I know. It's a good
It's
one.
a cool one. I'm also a big Sword Soul fan. Shout out to all of my Sword Soul duelists
I'm using
out there.
pencils, ones,
Sword Soul
enough
forever.
to know 3 cards.
Even if it's just Changing and the Mermail deck.
Okay.
Ooh, we can do Minstrel's other effect.
Oh, Dragoons. Yeah, Dragoons has to resolve. Okay.
Oh, yeah, he has to resolve Dragoons, yeah.
Sorry about that. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So then after this, I resolve Dragoons. Okay. There we go. Yep. Dragoons.
Dragoons is going to add Neptibus in the hand. Maybe he doesn't play infantry.
Yeah. Maybe he milled it or something?
Yeah, it's mandatory. Yeah. Abyss Pike. You said it'll get shuffled in. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it gets shuffled into his deck because he's going to then search with the Dragoons, which is how the Neptibus is in his hand.
Yep. Okay, sorry about that.
We know Brian is just sitting on a Dormouse and a March here in hand with the Fuwalos coming back at the end phase potentially. Or sooner than that.
Yeah, probably sooner than that, but at that point, it's not going to do a whole lot because what we're going to see now is very similar to what we saw in that previous
Is that the
game.
effect on summon to do that, or
No.
We're going to see Prima Donna.
I'm going to.
Well, he's thinking about just activating the March here right now.
Yeah.
WCQ
Okay.
competitors, freeze play.
So he's going to use March here to banish the Dormouse.
If you have not
With a
finished your
special?
match,
Yeah.
please
Oh, he might just
proceed
impulse
to the
this.
procedures. Need assistance with these?
Yeah.
Please raise your hand and call for a judge. If you have a time extension, it begins now.
Yep, he's going to use the Dominus Impulse on the March here. Now, Brian, before he's had a turn yet, is sitting on 0 cards in hand. After resolving a Perilia. What's going on here? This is Epic. Okay, he gets the card back to his hand.
Okay.
But now that he's used the March Air effect to summon in the field, he can't even use the Fualos. No, not like this.
This is why Tyree's a YCS champion.
Prima donnas,
There's that chinging that we were talking about.
Okay.
It's a worm that's acting as a fish.
He shuffles back the Dormouse with the Prima Donna.
Just double checking my
You're
shit.
good.
A worm fish.
Goes off.
Worm, a water worm. Oh, I like that water worm. That's kind of
Which one's a water worm?
The Changi.
Oh,
'cause he's
okay,
a
water worm, yeah.
But like the dragon kind of worm, not like the.
Yeah.
It's on like my fishing hook as
Okay.
bait kind of worm. Even though it looks like he's gone. Tyree definitely knows how to fish.
I know. He showed
has
it
a
10 years ago, and he's doing it again today.
Yeah, a veteran fisherman now in the deep sea, showing off what you can still do with the Mermail Atlantean strategy.
Yeah, he's going to continue on. He's going to summon a Nema, which is going to... Well, he's going to use a Nema now to bring back this Glutonius reptilian...
Grethus?
Grethus. See, whenever I solitaire these decks, I just call it, Dolphin, Big Fish.
Sure. That fish tuner. Yeah. They have some cool names, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Neptibus back onto the field. Some more secret summonings coming down. Is he going to Trishula the card out of his hand and the March Hare just to do it? Okay, no.
Okay.
It's only 8. It's Dragite.
Yep.
I think I'd rather go for the Spell and Trap Negate as well. Along with the Torrent being on the field, he has the out to the normal summon as well.
Yeah.
March Hare's not big enough to attack over Torrent.
He's got protection from targeting effects.
No cards in hand or
Yeah,
no?
I have. You know
Net
this.
Abyss,
Yeah,
so,
you know this.
Oh, that's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. Ryan's like, oh, that's pretty good. You have the banish in the crib. Yeah.
You may know Malice in Underground, but this is Malice Under the Sea.
Stand by.
Sounds like it'd be a good movie.
So, not if you're Brian. I don't think Brian wants to see that movie.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, good game.
Oh, he's going to concede. He has no play. Draws into an Ash Blossom. And Tyree putting on a clinic with his Mermail Atlantean strategy, moving on 7-0. Over a decade later, trying to run it back and win again with the Mermail Atlantean strategy, even though the deck is much different now, even though it's way, way different. We got Lynx, crazy Xyz monsters, but Tyree's showing he's learned how to adapt and learn what they do. And, an old school player trying to use an old school deck with some new tricks.
And you can tell just by his body language, he has been here before.
He's not even happy about the win.
No, 7-0. There's no better way to start than 7-0. But 7 wins does not get you into the top cut tomorrow. And he is playing for keeps this weekend.
Yeah, even just today, if he loses the next 2 today, he at least is locked in to come back to day 2. Even if he loses the next 2, he'll be back for the next 3. But you really want to finish day 1 9-0 if you can, and he's only 2 rounds away from having that opportunity.
Yeah, but he must have been doing this all day.
You see that the Dark Arm Dragon's there right behind Tyree. That was his favorite card. I saw it on the lineup. I wonder if that gave him some of that energy that he needed to take this game. And, shout outs to Brian. He played really well there in game number 2 with the Cyber's Wicked to really play around with Tyree and showed that the Mistaken Arrest is definitely a card. If you have it in your side deck, you're going to want to put it in against the Mermails as well because it did a lot of work for him.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty key card there for sure.
But
I wonder if this game would have been different if he opened Fualos instead of Perulia. Like if he
just used both of them?
Used them both.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that he held it, even though like the Minstrel, when you do have like 2 forms of interaction, your opponent's using Deep Sea Minstrel to look at your hand and pick. I do want to have them make the decision, like that way I'll still be able to hold my key interaction, but he just didn't hold the impulse long enough, I think.
Yeah, the moment that hit the field, you saw Tyree's pace of play because what he was doing first is like, how do I force this out? I need to create an enticing situation so that he does use the impulse early, because if he uses it, I can just Big Fish, and I know Big Fish will clear the field. Clear this right now because I know his hand. And he was just thinking, how do I navigate these turns to create a scenario that's enticing to use the impulse?
Yeah, and like at the end of the day, like with the Poseidons on the field, like that doesn't get Tyree really anything. It's just like another monster on the field. In order to use the effect, like send down a monster's a cost, your opponent has to control a card. So maybe just Brian hasn't like played as much against Mermail. Maybe he didn't know the key interaction. Maybe he thought like, oh, this is just like the one card. If I stop this, maybe he won't be able to do anything else. But that Shadow Squad in the graveyard was spelling impending doom.
Yep. Squad into Pike, discard the water, Shrine.
Yeah, all their new cards, all the new cards they got out of Rage of the Abyss are just absolutely excellent. I mean, Mermail Atlantean has been a contender since then. So much of a contender, like one of their cards got hit on the Forbidden Limitless in Bahamut Shark. Technically not one of their cards, but a card they used and incorporated very well.
They also lost Abyss Dweller, which is kind of one of those like, hey, well, we're glad never to have to play against it, but boy, do I wish I had it back so that I could detach my Dragoons easily.
Yeah, because that is a water monster that can detach as a cost, but I think they take that trade every day.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
It took me a second there, but I think I agree.
Especially when you're playing against something like Rise
Rise
Heal that can
everywhere, yeah.
easily summon Dweller turn 1 and like cut you off. They were using cards like Forbidden Droplet and stuff to deal with. Even Xyz Encore was in the Mermail decks when Abyss Dweller was still around because of how much of a threat that was. But now, no Abyss Dweller to stop Mermails from going and just, flooded the field with so many fish.
One shifter, no Abyss Dweller.
Maybe
you don't need them.
Mermailanian might be the pick, but playing with what you like, it's just so incredible feeling, and like you have a better chance because like you want to not only do well for yourself but do well for your deck because like Tyree, these cards mean something to him.
And I wonder if those are the same Dragoons he played with, a decade ago.
Could have been sitting in the closet this whole time, and then we got that new support in Rage of the Abyss, so they dusted them off and we're ready to go. Yeah, but it's going to be an incredible day. I mean, 7-0 with Mermail Atlantean. If you told me like what I thought the undefeated decks were, like maybe I would say Mermail Atlantean would be like X1, X2, or like in contention. But I don't know if I would have thought that it would have been undefeated. But Tyree is standing by with our host, so go ahead and take it away, Kangas. Let's hear from our winner from round 7, Tyree.
Thank you very much, Billy. I'm here with Tyree. Congratulations on the win. That was an incredible performance up here all 3 games, and you're playing Atlantean Mermail. So talk to me about the deck because it feels like so many people have already moved on from this since it initially came out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the deck has a lot of weaknesses, obviously, but I don't know. Like, for me, I just enjoy it, like the gameplay going second. Less the barrier statue going first, because we all know like no one really likes that part, but it's more so like being able to go second and like not have to rely on like 20 non-engine cards in order to like play. So that's more so like why I like it.
It definitely helps because you're not always reliant on winning that die roll at the beginning, then to really feel like you can play the game. So how's your experience been piloting it versus the field so far?
I've been getting pretty lucky, I'm not gonna lie. So I have to be completely transparent. I've been getting pretty lucky. So like minstrel opening hands, my opponent's only having like 1 hand trap, so yeah, just being pretty fortunate. So
okay, well, hey, maybe that can continue because you're going pretty deep into this NAWCQ. How do you feel right now? Do you feel like you got the mojo? Is this your tournament? Can you go all the way?
I'm gonna try my best, but I'm not gonna get too excited. I already know how Yu-Gi-Oh can be, so like it's like just a few bad draws away. So
fair enough. Well, I also want to go even further back in time because I've heard multi-YCS champion, you've won 2. Last time, you were also piloting the Mermails back last time they were really in the meta. So talk to me about your journey playing the Yu-Gi-Oh card game and just kind of what it means to be back at a tournament piloting the deck that you last won a YCS with.
Honestly, well, first on the deck plays like the only thing in similarity it shares is the name, like Mermails, because it plays completely different than before. But I don't know, like I just have a lot of friends who play, so that's like the main thing that keeps me playing is literally just all my friends who travel to events and play, and then I get to see at the events, so I don't get to see on a daily basis. So.
Hey, you love the community side of it, right? Like, that's why most of us play this game. And you wanted to shout out some of your friends from Richmond, right?
Yep, just the Richmond crew. They all know who they are, so they're all here anyway.
You know who you are. Congratulations, Tyree, on that feature match win. Now let's throw it back to the casters.